The Evening Inbox wants a remake of the remaster of the original Resident Evil, as more readers debate The Last of Us ending. To join in with the discussions yourself, email gamecentral@acmetro.co.uk. Please note, now that we're back from E3 and the schedules are getting back to normal, we are running out of usable inbox letters and readers features. If we do not have enough emails soon, we won't be able to run an evening inbox tomorrow, or the usual 4 readers features at the weekend. The amount of submissions do usually slow down during the summer, but hopefully with all the E3 announcements recently you'll have plenty to talk about. It frustrates me that so many gamers have had their mind blown by Cyberpunk 2077. All the general public saw of it was a, 3-minute pre-rendered, in-engine video. Don't get me wrong, I'm really looking forward to it too, having loved The Witcher 2 and 3. But what really is there to get excited over already? The write-ups of the behind-closed-doors demonstration sound very impressive, but that's like being told what a movie trailer is like that gets shown off only at Comic-Con or something. It's just not the same. Show us how the game actually plays, and I may understand the excitement. But as it is, to me it feels like everyone is getting all worked up over what they are imagining, not over what actually is. Elfin GC, we understand your concern. The trailer's actually less than 2 minutes, but it's probably not pre-rendered, or if it is the real thing, look just as good. GC and Nintendo's E3. I just expected a couple of surprises to build some excitement for the future. Star Fox Grand Prix, if it was real, would have definitely filled this role, or even better would have been some brand new prospect no one was expecting a la Splatoon. E3 is about showmanship and providing a wow factor. I think Nintendo failed in both these regards this year. Compare their offerings to Cyberpunk 2077, which delivered a jaw-dropping trailer and an incredible buzz fueled by its closed-doors demo. I'm excited about the game without even knowing fully what to expect. With Smash Bros. Though I know exactly what I'm getting, at least with the multiplayer, and it just didn't get my pulse racing. I readily admit I'm being greedy as I already have enough games to last the year, but I am a massive Nintendo fan and have an endless appetite for their releases. I would have at least liked some Super Mario Odyssey DLC announced, or even better, a new Super Mario Maker, which both seem like no-brainers to me. Oh well, we do have Mario Tennis Aces and Octopath Traveler coming up. When will your review for Aces be going up? I really hope this one is good. I really fancy a spot of tennis. Rhino DGC, a surprise on the scale of Star Fox would have pushed the Nintendo Direct from acceptable to good, but there were no real surprises at any of the first-party conferences. Cyberpunk wasn't a surprise, it was just really good. We agree with your no-brainer suggestions though, and our Mario Tennis Aces review is up now. Taylor and other Resident Evil remakes. I reckon that Capcom have already refined this game engine down to a finer point to facilitate a shot in the arm to the existing legacy of Resident Evil. It would partially excuse the time that Resident Evil 2 remakes spent under the radar. For me, the series ended with 4. It just gets a little silly after that, if it wasn't already at that point. Would love to see a remake of a remaster of a remake of a classic regarding the first entry. I know it sounds silly, but I would love the games to get a makeover from 0 through to 4. Would love to play Resident Evil 7 on VR, but I have no intention to immerse myself in that level of fear. Dubia, email your comments to gamecentral@acmetro.co.uk in response to that chat that discussed pausing your PS Plus Xbox Live subscription. I don't think it's a bad idea, and in fact Humble Bundle already implemented if you subscribe to their monthly service on PC. They inform you of some of the big-name games in the month's bundle, and on occasion when I've already had them, I'll just pause a month. You do lose the subscriber discount in the store if you do this, but it will automatically restore the following month unless you pause again for another month. Sometimes though I'll kick myself I pause, then I've wanted some of the unannounced games but it's too late then. I nearly paused last month but didn't, and I was pleasantly surprised when one of the surprise games was Yooka-Laylee, which I'd had on my wish list for a while. It works for Humble, I'm sure Sony and Microsoft could come up with something. I suppose you can pay monthly for Xbox Live and just cancel it if you don't want it, but you end up paying more doing it monthly rather than annually. With regard to E3, the news of the Yakuza games coming to PC was a pleasant surprise, and Cyberpunk 2077 looks great. It was good to read that they had it running on current consumer-level PC hardware, not a mega colossus of a computer. Apparently it was a stock speed i7, with a single GTX 1080 Ti. Impressive. One more thing, have you got any plans to review the recently released BlazBlue Cross-Tag Battle? Dan GC, we don't think we're going to have time for that, but all BlazBlue games are good. I for one agree with Matt as to the lack of agency in The Last of Us being a significant problem. I remember before playing the game one watched the Zero Punctuation review, wherein Yahtzee said that you are meant to feel horrified with your actions at the end of the game. However, I wasn't horrified, as they were Joel's actions. I was given no choice, and so I couldn't sympathize or identify with Joel. I've had a reader's feature idea brewing in my head for a while now on ethical systems in games, and was planning on using The Last of Us as an example, a bad one, but haven't gotten around to writing it yet. Joseph Dowland GC, we'd definitely encourage you to write that. My interpretation of the ending for The Last of Us led me to the conclusion that allowing player choice at the end would have been a mistake. For me, the whole point of the story is that if people stoop to certain levels in order to survive, then humanity is already extinct. Comparing the ending with the opening, you're encouraged to consider the price of survival. Most of the worst things that happen to characters in the game are down to the actions of other regular individuals. The mindless monsters roaming around are just provocation to demonstrate this, vehicles to give the opportunity for humanity to show its colors when the veil of civilization is even briefly lifted. It's obviously a common theme in post-apocalyptic or dystopian fiction that there is no such thing as a greater good if you consider not the extent of your aims but the cost of them. Everything that Joel goes through from the first second of interaction makes him the ideal individual to recognize that there really is no choice at the end if civilization is to continue, even if the threat is far greater as a result of his actions. Allowing for some sort of agency or a varied outcome would risk undermining his arc and therefore the entire point of the story. Pandery, DSB. I had a go on Fortnite for the first time when it was released on Switch last week. I made sure to head for a far corner of the map as I was parachuting down, in the belief that it would be quieter and so give me a few minutes to get the hang of the controls. My play session consisted of wandering around, breaking up some scrap metal, building some stairs and panicking when the storm moved in. I saw maybe 2 other players in the distance, fired 3 bullets, all of which missed, before being killed by some kind of automatic gun turret I never even saw. I came third, out of 96, apparently. I'm sure there's fun to be had, but I just don't have the time or patience to get to the point where I can properly compete. I've got corn that needs watering in Stardew Valley, and that goat pen isn't going to build itself. Sparky the Yak currently playing Stardew Valley and Shin Megami Tensei, Lucifer's Call, picked it up recently. It's really hard to catch up on every previous game's inbox. Here I felt compelled to write in as a virtual leap to the defense of Runner 3, after it was again mentioned in a negative light. I loved Runner 2 and have been eagerly awaiting the sequel's release ever since it was first announced. With it finally here, I bought it day one and fired it up immediately to try out the first few levels. I was underwhelmed, I don't mind admitting. Graphically it didn't appear to have moved on at all, and as you noted in your review, the music, which was so brilliant and fundamental to my Runner 2 experience, just seemed flat and uninspiring in comparison. But I've since advanced to the second world, and while the graphics and the music aren't particularly improved, my appreciation for the game has surged massively. The game is undoubtedly harder, but I'm loving that. I insist in perfecting 100/100ths gold minimum each level before advancing, and every level is now an epic test of concentration and skill, which happens to be right up my street, and what I think the game is designed to be. And its difficulty is splendidly heightened by the variations in perspective and vehicle sections, which I hated at first. The last level 1 completed I bonked 100 times before getting my perfect, and I absolutely loved it. The double jump is such a simple and well-used mechanic in video games, but its addition here adds so much to the experience. While I've still got a long way to go, I'm very confident in saying that Runner 3 isn't as good as Runner 2. It's better, much better. Please give it the chance it deserves, everyone. GC Unit saw another misrepresentation of games on TV. Blackish had two guys playing Rocket League with GameCube controllers, unless they work on Switch. Also saw an advert with guys playing a PlayStation 4 game with no lights on their controllers. Does no one check these things? Bob Wallet PS, yes, I have a lot of time on my hands. I just say how much I've been enjoying the back and forth about The Last of Us Part 2 this week, not just because it's a game I'm interested in, but because on any other site it would have devolved into name-calling and console wars almost immediately. But there's not been a hint of that here. This is why I enjoy the inbox so much. Gadfly GC, yes, it's been very good. Well done to everyone that's contributed. This year's E3 has just ended, and so there's only one obvious subject for this weekend's inbox. What did you think of it, and what game do you think looked the best? Dozens of new games were seen in detail for the first time, but which ones were you most impressed by, and what did you find of disappointment? Which company do you think put on the best E3 conference, and do you think there was a definitive winner of E3 2018? How do you think this E3 compared to previous years, and what were you the most disappointed to find wasn't at the show? Please make it clear in your email whether your message is intended for the hot topic itself or just the weekday inbox. Email your comments to gamecentral@acmetro.co.uk. The small print new inbox updates appear twice daily, every weekday morning and afternoon. Readers' letters are used on merit and may be edited for length. You can also submit your own 500 to 600 word 4-player viewer features at any time, which if used will be shown in the next available weekend slot. If you need quick access to the Game Central channel page, please use www.metro.co.uk/games, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter.